So I just finished my session with my coach, IFBB Pro, Logan Robson. We're talking about competitions and competing and bodybuilding and the show coming up and what we see happening. And I think if this triggers you, then it's probably meant for you. The biggest discrepancy that we have in bodybuilding is that people think it's easy. And there's a little bit of ego attached to it in the sense that we know it's not easy, but it's very easy to commit to something like that. And I think that's the risk with bodybuilding, is that it shouldn't be a decision to be taken lightly. Your physique as presentable as possible to outdo yourself and be competitive in an objective sport. But bodybuilding isn't just about physical health. In fact, a lot of the stuff you do can be physically draining and a high risk on your system. But you're not really building your body, you're building your character. Because the reality is you see people commit to a bodybuilding show without really understanding their commitment. And as they progress through, they realize what's required from them. It's human nature to try and find the easiest way out of something. But when we get caught on that and we realize we're not doing the work, we struggle sometimes to take accountability for that. We make up excuses such as we don't have the time, prepping's too hard, it's draining. And guess what, guys? It's meant to be that way. That's why it's something that should be undertaken with a little bit more thought. And then when people pull out, they use dumbass excuses like, oh, struggling with work, I missed out on my anniversary, I missed out on Christmas dinner. It's like, why did you miss out on that? You missed out on the food or the experience? You missed out on the food, and you associate an attachment to that the food was the experience. So a lot of people just can't control their minds, and that's what a bodybuilding competition is there for, in my perspective. When you go through a prep, you're actually learning where in your character you need more strength, more resilience from. So being observant to what you have to do, not only for your prep, but as well as your responsibilities outside of prep, that's where the real challenge is. And doing that with a smile on your face and accepting accountability that you're the one who chose to do that comp, that's on you. We choose to do this, but yet somehow we expect the world around us to adapt and cater to our choice and what we're aiming for. There's no victory in that. If you do a bodybuilding comp and everything's handed to you on a platter, yeah, look, you'll be proud that you did well, but that's not also a realistic approach. Being able to deal with the everyday life as well as prepping for a show, that's where the trick is. And year after year, season after season, to try and produce a better package, that's where the goal is. Producing a better package while producing a better prep in every single season you do. That is the main goal of bodybuilding. So many times we use it as prestige, as ego lifting. We way more attention on social media, post a lot more, and we've got a great support. Everyone's in admiration. And when the going gets tough, the worst part is we blame the actual industry. It's a toxic industry. It's egotistical. It's all these things. Well, then I would argue, and if this triggers you, ask yourself this question. Is that one reason why you were attracted to it in the first place? Because you figured you were catering to your own ego rather than your character? Otherwise, you wouldn't have quit your prep. There are many people that quit a prep because they're just not feeling it, not because of the workload. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you pulling out of a show to say, right now, I've had to reshuffle and recommit. I can't give this the attention it deserves from me. I'm too exhausted and too scattered to give this the attention it deserves. I've worked really hard, but this isn't the package that I want to present. I'm going to give myself more time. That's not quitting, that's restructuring. But when you say you're no longer competing, the industry is too toxic, what are you going to get from it anyways? You're missing out on life. No matter what you choose to do in life, there is going to come with sacrifice. But it has to be willing sacrifice. I've prepped and competed with kids for many years. And I would actually say they were my purpose. They were part of me through the journey, but it taught me character. I also was able to give them an example of the type of man I want to become and my progression into becoming that man through being accountable for my failures, such as loss of patience because I'm hungry, or the commitment that I show up to a session even though I'm too fatigued to train. That's what bodybuilding comps is there. That's why I find the passion is. That's my why. Let's flip this a little bit. If you're looking for a job and I was interviewing you and you've done multiple seasons of shows, I couldn't care if you won or not, but that you completed seasons and you learned from, I would hire you much quicker for a job. In a marriage, it's all fine and well when things get difficult, but is that when you're going to quit? You quit a bodybuilding comp that you chose to do because the food got too hard. So what happens when the relationship gets too hard? When the job gets too hard? Life gets too hard? All I'm trying to say, guys, is when you want to compete, pay serious attention to it because it's not something for everybody. Find what your why is. Make sure that it's not ego-based. And from there, put the work in to be better at that. So if you realize you're not where you want to be in order to be able to complete a comp, not a fucking problem. That's the reality. But have enough sovereigns to say and admit, I'm not where I need to be to successfully complete a prep. There's a lot of honor and respect in that, especially from other champions. So it doesn't matter whether it's bodybuilding or anything else, guys. Whatever you choose to do it with intent. And trust yourself, because the only person that wants to grow and deserves to grow is you. At the very least, give everything that you have. Because at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But you gave it your all. My personal why for competing was because I had a tube in my stomach being peg fed. I wasn't able to do a lot of other sports because of it, so I picked to do this. And the reason I did wasn't just to get more comfortable with my physique that had changed considerably post-surgery, but just so that I could be comfortable in my own skin to be up on stage in a tiny budgie smuggler with a tube for the world to see. That was my why. It turned out I did okay, but when I realized I was way more functional and my body was more adaptive to normal everyday life because of it. So competition became more of a training tool as opposed to an end result. Like in martial arts, when we compete, we don't compete to win, we compete to learn. You compete to realize where are your skills and where there needs to be improvement. It's a type of evaluation. And comp is the same way. It's like, where does my discipline need to improve? What are the weaknesses in my body? What are the weaknesses in my physiology, in my digestion? And where can I improve? So competition for me has been a tool. And I'll advise everyone not to work towards a competition, but make the competition work for you so that every area of your life improves because of it. I hope you all have a great end of season, and I look forward to seeing everyone up on the RPB stage.